The story is, I wasn't allowed to have pencils because they were dangerous and I was too young. And I was living with my grandmother at the time. And when she put me to bed for a nap, somehow I had snuck a pencil into the crib with me. And when she came to get me out of the crib, she realized the whole crib was covered with drawings of people. I did these last week, and they're just landscapes. And I just do them to give myself some inspiration. I look at them, and on these blank canvases is a perfect place to see stuff happening. That was inspiration for this picture. Now I started imagining elephants coming out. As you can see, they're kind of like, ooh, and then another one's walking in from the background, and this woman's there, and let's make the moon rise there. So I look at the blankness, and then I start imagining what's there, or what was there, what will be there. You're very privileged to get to see a painting before it's done, because not almost, but nobody gets to see a painting before it's done. This painting I just began. I have 2 days worth of work into it, and it's going to be called Saints and Sinners. And so what I've done is I've just blocked in the main color tones. I'm just establishing my values, basically. Value establishing. This, of course, is going to be darker than it will be. I prefer to underpaint darker. Sometimes I underpaint in the opposite color that something will be. Over here is going to be a fabulous neon sign that says Saints and Sinners, and I'll build up layers of paint. There'll be a telephone here, this will be an old trailer, there'll be electrical cords. I'm not going to tell you what's going to be at the very end, but it's going to be nice. I won't give it all away. And things can change, and these are going to be two figures, those wonderful sort of 1950s, 60s figures that are lit from inside with a single light bulb. And I love the way they're standing out here in this total empty expanse of desert, or I like to call it Mion land. You asked me if I love working in oils. Oils is my favorite media. I mean, I work a lot in pastel too. I do some acrylics and watercolors, but I like that it stays wet. I just like how you can manipulate it and how you build up. You can just build up. This will be many layers built up. My husband and I bought this hotel. It had been closed for over 40 years. It's called La Posada, which means in Spanish, the resting place. This was built by Mary Coulter, who is the Southwest's most important woman architect. She considered this one her masterpiece. It closed in 1957. Mary Coulter died in 1958. We have articles about people thinking, oh, someone's going to move to town soon and buy this building. Well, it was a long time before I wasn't even born yet. We moved here in 1997, and it became my home, my studio, and a wonderful place for the public. I think that I'm going to do a pastel of Christ walking on water. Here we have a whole bunch of nails I collect. Rusty nails, new nails, bent nails are my favorite. Anytime I'm walking and I see a nail that looks fun, I pick it up. So I just go in here and I pull out some nails, take a look at some of these nails. I'm gonna need a button, because I need a head. And so this is where I keep. I have some. So I look here for my objects. I need one of these, paper clip. Here's a bunch of buttons. Okay, let's see. Let's just choose a nice head. That'll work for now. We have a neck, like that. And I'll put we'll need a head. This is not the head that I'll actually do, but it gives me an idea. Looking for the way somebody might walk, how they would move their body if they were walking on water, and realizing they weren't going to sink. I was trying for the proper movement. Thought I had a pipe. Oh, here's a pipe. No, it's not instantaneous. I'll think about this for a while. This also makes a really nice fish, I think. Once I get my idea out, and I've decided which direction I want the shadows to come. Do they come from below, from the side? This lamp is really hot. Or from here. Ooh, that's nice. That's got a lot of mysteriousness to it. I have to decide where the viewer is. Am I here? Am I here? Am I on top? That all plays into the whole concept. This is the problem, though. I get so much pastel on my face that by the time I worked an hour or two, it looks like I've crawled out of a coal mine. So as you can see, that's my arm after just a few minutes. My whole face will be that color, it'll be black. And when I have to go walk the dogs, that means I'm supposed to wash my face first, but I'm often too lazy, so I end up scaring people. Italco chip.
So you asked about how I start the big ones. Like this one is Jacques Cousteau. And it started the same way, a little piece of paper and a pencil sketch. And then I picked out some seashells that I thought were nice. And that I made up by cutting a piece of paper. And Jacques Cousteau was a smoker, so he's underwater world of Jacques Cousteau, so he's discovering this. So I had to get the seashells that gave the right expression to this new life form. And over here we have religious nuts. It's a face. And once again, I had to find the right nails and the right nuts and the right text. And so they all start the same way, with a little tiny piece of paper, me sketching something, and then I get the objects after I get the idea, and then I paint it big. I get the ideas for my skies right here from these windows. And every night there's like an amazing one. I say, I have to sketch that one now. I never stop thinking about what I'm going to draw. I mean, it's my favorite part of the whole process, is to sketch and come up with ideas. Most of my notebooks are just writing. There's sketches, but there's a lot of just writing, like that might tell you what it's about. So these are some of my notebooks. There's no rhyme or reason to anything. I have back envelopes, scraps of paper, everything. I come up with ideas for the problem for me is not that I don't have enough ideas, it's I have too many, so I have to figure out which ones are just screaming to come out, and then that's how I determine what I'm going to paint next. After I do a rough sketch, like something like something just like I just did this morning, then I might do it a little more elaborate, like this, or this was for a 15-foot triptych. And that's what got me excited about it. I did that, and these figures, it was a night scene. And then I did a little more research, not research, but drawing, and I came up with this. But many of those figures disappeared when I began drawing it on canvas, and that was about it. That was about the most detailed I did for that entire 16-foot painting. And at this point, after I had these two pieces, I kept them on the wall the whole time, and I started sketching directly on the canvas. So I'm gonna make a new palette. This one's done, and I'm not gonna throw it away. It's called All My Valentines, and it's a self-portrait. And these are, Valentines. People in your lifetime you might have sent a Valentine to, a friend, a relative, a lover. And it's to give people hope, maybe. That's my clam. That's Alan, and he's the Valentine I'm holding on to, and that's my husband. And these guys, well, I'm letting go of them. Self-portrait, 2011. Interesting thing is, as I was doing this, I found this drawing that I'd done. My grandmother kept my drawings because I lived with her. growing up off and on, and she kept some of my drawings, and all my self-portraits, every single one, as a child, it seems that I painted myself as a clown. And this one I stuck in a frame because I thought it looks just like this self-portrait in a way. Big eyes, the weird grin, blonde hair. I think that we pretty much established by the time we're like 5 or 6 years old everything we're ever going to paint. So, and I put that one in a frame, but here's a couple other ones showing that really, this is self-portrait. These are the few that my grandmother saved that I must have made when I was living with her. Self-portrait, once again, as a clown, same hat. And my brother and I, he's a normal person. I'm the clown. Open this one and see what's going on in here. Looks like it's gray. Oh, black. That one's filled with coffee, so I know that one's no good. That's white. Here's a nice bit of color. What's going on in this baby? And this one. Just seeing if I have something already made that is a lovely, lovely blue-gray, isn't it? God, I love that. That is just luscious. Once you get a color you like, you add a little more white to it because it always dries considerably darker. So you actually paint something lighter than you want it, knowing that it will darken as it dries. That is lovely. Oops. That's pretty good. It's rolling nicely. That looks really pretty, doesn't it? This has already got about 3 layers of gesso on top of it. And I'll do a couple layers of the final paint, and I'll know when to stop when I like the texture. I just love color so much. There's nothing that delights me more than a beautiful color. Now it's starting to dry, so now I have to make sure there's no marks at all. I'm real picky about that. Has to be pretty much perfect. Done. That's the worst part, cleaning up. What drives my art? Neuroses, over too much energy. But I think a lot of it is that I really like to escape, and that's my best way to escape. I think we all look for an escape sometimes through different means, and that's how I escape. Man, do I love it. I go into this own, I don't just escape to avoid, I escape into this world that I get to create and I get to control, and I say I get to control, I don't always though. I mean, so much stuff is subconscious, But that's, that's interesting. And it just makes me, it's like a release valve in my head. When I paint, I let a lot out, and I feel calmer afterwards. So I think I do it like a release valve, as a form of escape, as a form to control my world and make sense of it, and as a way to answer certain questions. Like I'm working on the series Mion now, and I am just as curious as other people what happens after we die. So this is my way to explore it. If I can paint it, then maybe I can understand it. And sometimes I dream it, and sometimes then I paint what I've dreamt. And you gotta do something.